Shout out to my subscribers, man. Shout out to all the people that come through, that subscribe, that ain't subscribed to the Dirty Nation. But first off, this morning, man, I gotta say, man, I woke up and it was cool. My morning was cool. And then I seen something on the news. This dude, right? This dude is, I don't know, is it mayor or whatever, but he made the statement: utilize the water trucks, hook water hoses to them, and hose the rioters down. The end. That'll be the end of the riots. Hook water hoses to the truck, and that'll be the end of the riots. Instantly, that shit set me back, right? I don't really be on no racist shit, but history is history. So when he said hose, like hose the rioters down, instantly that took us back to the civil rights movement because blacks was hosed down. But let's keep it 100. There was white people that was hosed down right alongside of them blacks too that was hosed down. So then what it made me get was, man, I ain't gonna lie, I got emotional and shit. It's like hella shit just hit me at one time. Like when you protest, what the fuck are you protesting for, and what do you aim to get? What's the aim? Because protest without direction is aimlessly protesting. That's an aimless protest. And then stuff starts to get lost in translation. So one thing that I haven't heard about is prisoners protesting in the name of George and social difference and all that, social equality. I haven't heard that. But I want y'all to know, y'all people, I want y'all to know that inmates inside do have a voice, and they do fight for rights too. And there's been some historical things that inmates have to fight for to get, and we protest too. I'm not an inmate no more. I gave up my number. I'm not a prison channel. I'm a YouTuber that been to prison. That's what I am. But during my stay, there were some pivotal demonstrations that we took part of. Not all, and I'm gonna be honest. In prison, we don't have no rights. We don't have no rights. You don't have no rights in prison. The only rights you have is what you and the homies get together, or you and the inmates get together and push for. That's the only rights you got. So I'm gonna tell you, in '96, or no, excuse me, '94, when they took family visits and shit, inmates came together and protested, got the family involved, and it didn't work. It didn't work. But there was still a core of people that kept on pushing and kept on pushing. So damn near 20 years later, family visits was reinstated. What was the demonstration behind it? I couldn't tell what demonstration, but it was going on. So now we talk about it. So now they got their family visits back. All the homies, the big homies that was in Pelican Bay, the inmates came together and did a hunger strike. That's one form of protesting that we have in prison. Hunger strike. But that hunger strike, it was a strike for a cause. They were locking homies up in Pelican Bay shoes and throwing away the key for little shit, just for a rumor that they had political influence, and they was locking them up in the shoe and for indefinitely. It was called indeterminate shoes. Some inhumane shit, and there wasn't nobody doing nothing about it. Nobody was doing anything about the inhumane treatment going on in the shoes. Like, people was getting forgot about. People was doing 15 and 20 years in the shoe. The whole world had changed, and they was still in the shoe. So, shouts out to everybody that participated in that demonstration. The second kind of demonstration that we have in here is sit downs. Sit downs on the yard. But I'm gonna be 100. Sit downs don't turn out. They don't always turn out well. Cause what they do, like, say, okay, so look, I'm gonna give you an example of a demonstration I was in. I was part of. All right, so we on DR, the Salinas Valley. This story, right? Nah, this ain't no story. But I was on the Salinas Valley, DR, right? And there had been 3 fights on this yard this particular day, right? This yard, it was afternoon. 1 fight, then they resumed program. Another fight, and then they locked the program down. We just came outside. We've been outside 30 minutes, and we on a 180 yard. We want to go outside when it's time to go outside, because we tired of being in the cell. So after the 3rd fight, they're talking about yard recall. Motherfuckers was like, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Hell nah. We know 2 fist fights is not the reason to recall the yard. Fuck that shit. So next thing you know, we sat down. We're not going nowhere. All the bloods, we passed the word around to everybody, because we already proned out because it was a fight. So we start passing the word around. Fuck that, blood. You going in, blood? I ain't going in. Fuck that. Hey. The Crips started talking. Y'all going in? No. So this yard has 5 buildings, 6 buildings, 7 buildings, 8 buildings to hold. So it's not a whole lot of inmates, but it's enough. So next thing you know, I'm with it. It's whatever, because I'm not about to watch everybody else demonstrate and I post up. Hell nah. So I'm with it. So the way the buildings is like 5 building, there's 3 pods. A, B, C. 6 building. A, B, C. 7 building. A, B, I think C might have been the whole. No. It's A, B, C. So we got 6 pods basically. So, man, they start off with A pod, right? They start off with 5 building. 5 building, A pod, yard recall. Did nobody move. They start getting the police lining up around the yard. They call it 5 building, B pod. Nobody moves on the yard. Everybody's sitting down like, fuck that shit. It's whatever. Homies is getting ready. 5 building, C pod. Nobody move, right? So if we're in 5 building, like me, I'm screwed. It's over. So they done got us out the way. 5 building is still gangster. Why would they get to 6 building? Why would they get to 6 building A pod, right? They was like, 6 building A pod. I ain't gonna say the homies' names. I ain't gonna say it, but it was a couple of them. Why they was like 6 building A pod? Them niggas stood up, like 2 niggas stood up like, yeah, all right, homie, yeah, I'm out. I was looking like, what the fuck? What about us? Nigga, we just stood for nothing. Like, we just stood for nothing, and then they just went ahead and went in the building. So that was one way it turned out. I was mad at a motherfucker, because I still got to write up and everything, participating in facility in serious disruptions of facility operations. That was my write-up. I ended up beating it, though. But then another time, it was a sit-down on the yard, and the police came, and they came in riot tactical gear, because it's a 270. And 270 got like 2 times more inmates than a 180. Why is it when they came, we protested? I don't even know what the fuck we was protesting for. I don't know if it was some type of something they was doing with the food or something, but it was enough for all the inmates to sit down. So when they came in, we kind of could hear them, we could feel it, because like the yard got quiet. Like we could feel what's about to happen, because we've been sitting down on this yard for about like 30, 40 minutes, like we were refusing. But it's still yard time. So it's like, and it happened after alarm. So it's still yard time. Well, hold on, let me get it right. It's still yard time, but the police backup hadn't got there yet. So next thing you know, when the backup hit the fence with the batons and the helmets and shit, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, but luckily they was on the other side of the yard. Man, once they got to picking shit up and motherfuckers wouldn't move, then I got the beating ass. And I ain't gonna lie, after that first few people I seen get beat up, I was like, woo, so what we doing? I'm looking around, remember I'm young, so I'm looking around the older homies like, what we doing? So what we doing is we gonna tear this motherfucker up, what are we doing? Niggas look at me like, nigga, is you crazy? They are gonna shoot and everything else. But that was a sit down. That's another type of protest. Another demonstration that they have is cell floods. Like cell floods, you flood your cell. That's a form of demonstration, especially if you stuck in a cell and you can't come out, and for whatever reason they not giving you whatever. You got 2 options in the cell. Board up, meaning you cover your window. That's another. So how many demonstrations we covered in prison? Hunger strikes, sit downs. Now inside your cell, you got the board up. Board your window up. They can't see you, you can't see them. That is a motherfucking, that is a violation. Like, they have to see you at all times. At all times. If not, because you could be in there dead, you could be in there killing your cellie, you could be in there killing yourself, you could be in there, you could be in there doing something you ain't supposed to be doing, period. So they must be able to see you at all times. So if you block your cell, this is what they do. They have to notify. It used to be different, right? But this is the procedure. First, they have to notify their watch commander, their lieutenant, or whatever, and let them know we have somebody that's boarded up and he's not taking it down. So what they do is they get them, the lieutenant or whatever officers. He normally got a squad of hitters with him, and they come to the door and they like, M.A. Williams, we need you to take your. What's the problem? We need you to take your board down. Then after you like, fuck that, you state your case or whatever. You state your case, and pretty much that's your opportunity to comply. Failure to comply results in action. So they give you a warning, kind of like what they do with the rioters. I am Lieutenant Whoop-de-Whoop with the Whoop-de-Whoop, and I'm giving you a direct order to remove your boards, because it's called boarding up. Remove your boards. If you do not, we will be forced to enter your cell. Williams, do you wish to comply? If you got a good reason, stand for it. If you on some bullshit, better take your motherfucking board down and quit playing with them people. It used to be where they run up in your cell. They'll force your door open and run up in your cell. You got certain types of stuff that you can do. Like, we used to have a laundry thing, jam that in the door. Like, some people thought they had some pretty good door locks, and I've ran across some door locks where they just gave up. Like the inmate locked the door so good that they had to comply to what he wanted. Probably beat him up later, but he had to comply. So what happens is they got this tear gas, pepper spray, and they'll crack your door. If you got a tray slot and they can get in it, they'll crack your tray slot and force the bomb in the cell. Boom! That motherfucker blow up. This is in the county. I'm gonna tell you this is county and prison. I'm gonna tell you the county version first. The county, they throw that bomb up in that motherfucker. Boom! That bomb got hella little BBs in it. So when it blow up, all the BBs bounce all over the cell and tear you up. That's the county. In the pen, they got the bomb. They throw that bomb. Not the bomb. They got a big ass canister. It looked like a fire extinguisher, but it's a big ass canister. And they stick it in the side of your door or however they can get it in. And they'll spray that motherfucker and empty the can. Then they close the tray slot, boom, and they let you suffer. Do you want to come out? If you a gangster, not even if you a gangster, but if you can't breathe, you gonna be like, all right. And you know how they do the dog when a dog bites you and they let the dog continue to bite you for a minute? They do some shit like that. When you like, all right, I'm coming out. They be like, are you sure you want to come out? You in there dying. You want to come out? Yes! Then they take hella long when you stick because you got to cuff up. So you stick your hands out the tray slot and they got to cuff your hands up. All that shit take time. So you in there about to die. Now, it used to be all they could do was shoot 2 canisters and then they mandatory got to go in the cell and get you. By whatever means. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you how that changed. Shout out to all my Southside partners. Shout out to all my Southsider partners, because I hate to say it. I don't even hate to say it. But they the only ones that I heard that was doing this. So what happened is, when the police was running up in the cell, even if it wasn't a cell extraction, they was just running up in your cell. The Southsiders was putting down baby oil on the ground. Put down, they had a knife ready, because they already know. They spray 2 times, now they coming. So they'll be in the cell with their knives ready. Face masks, they probably got their sheet with water wrapped tight around their face. As soon as the police run up in there, step on that baby oil, bam, Southsiders was getting on them. So, real shit. Real shit. So, because of that, they changed the policy and said that they could spray as much pepper spray as needed to get you out that cell. That's another demonstration. So now you got the board, you got the hunger strikes, sit downs, cell floods, boarding up, phone strikes, phone strike demonstration. Phone strike demonstration. Man, they was so motherfucking dirty in CDC. Probably all the way across the country. But MCI, Telecom, Inmate Solutions was dumbass wrong. They was charging you shit like a $5 connection fee. $5 connection fee. And then like $3 a minute. Unreal. The rates that they was charging us was unreal. And we was at their beck and call. That was the only way we could communicate. So they knew they had a stranglehold on us. Then cell phones started coming in prison. Once cell phones started coming in prison, they started to have to talk to us because inmates stopped using the phone. Like it went from they was able to hang us with these charges. And on top of that, they was doing shit like this. That connection fee was $5. $5. So what happens if you call and the phone hangs up after 3 minutes? That means when you call back, that's another $5 connection fee and $3 a minute. What? It was killing us. So the inmates got together, spread the word throughout all of California and probably neighboring states and said, we're not using the phone no more. We're not using no prison phone no more. Fuck that. Not until it was a memo and legislation, our peoples on the streets and everything was participating. What happened? And I'm talking about effective protest. What happened? Man, look, that motherfucking phone company got brought to their knees. The phone companies got brought to their knees. And they had to comply. Next thing you know, now it's shit. They giving out free phone calls right now during COVID. But before that, man, they broke it down. They made them motherfuckers. They made the phone so affordable. Everybody used them phones that ain't got a cell phone. But really, what it was is if inmates ain't using the phone. On top of that, if inmates ain't using the phone, they can't tap our phone calls and get people's business because niggas talk freely on them damn phones they ain't supposed to. But they can't tap our shit no more, so they lost a viable source of information by us not being on them phones. Another demonstration I talked about family visits, phone strikes, cell floods, sit-downs, hunger strikes, and was it another one? That's it. That's the ones I could think of off top. But there is a such thing as effective demonstrations, effective protests. And I already said how I felt on them, but the people that are inside, y'all need to know they got a voice too. Dirty weather, gum. I said.